David pulled into the driveway at 6:47 in the morning. He'd told Claire he had an overnight business trip. Dallas. Some conference about supply chain management that didn't actually exist. He turned off the engine and sat there for a moment, rehearsing his face in the rearview mirror. Tired but professional. Like a man who'd been in meetings all day. The house looked the same. White shutters. The birch tree Claire had planted when they bought the place 14 years ago. Her car was gone, but that wasn't unusual. She liked to go to the grocery store early on Saturdays. He unlocked the front door. The silence hit him first. Not the normal kind of quiet. Something else. Something hollow. He stepped inside. The coat rack by the door was bare. Claire always hung her blue jacket there. And the kids' backpacks. Gone. He walked into the living room. The couch was still there. The coffee table. The TV mounted on the wall. But the throw pillows were gone. The family photos that used to sit on the mantel. The little clay handprint their daughter Emma had made in second grade. All of it. Gone. David's pulse quickened. He moved faster now. Kitchen. Her cookbooks weren't on the shelf. The calendar she kept on the fridge. The one with everyone's schedules written in her neat handwriting missing. He went upstairs. Emma's room. The bed was still there, but stripped bare. No posters. No stuffed animals. The closet door hung open. Empty hangers swayed slightly as he stepped closer. His son Ryan's room. Same thing. The desk, the chair, the bed frame. But nothing that made it his. David's throat tightened. He walked down the hall to the master bedroom. Claire's side of the closet was empty. Her dresser drawers pulled out, hollow. The framed picture of them on their wedding day that she kept on her nightstand gone. He stood there, staring at the empty space. Then he saw it. A single envelope on the bed. His name written across the front in Claire's handwriting. He picked it up. His hands were shaking. Inside, one sentence. I hope she was worth it. Before we continue, comment where you are watching from so I will know how far my story reach. David called her cell 17 times in the first hour. Every call went straight to voicemail. He texted. No response. He called her sister, Jessica. She picked up on the third ring. Where is she? David's voice cracked. Where are Claire and the kids? Jessica's voice was ice. You've got some nerve. Jessica, please. Don't do that. Don't act like you're the one who's confused right now. I don't know what she told you, but she didn't have to tell me anything, David. I've known for months. I just didn't think she'd finally have the spine to leave. The line went dead. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his phone. He tried Claire's mother. No answer. He tried his own parents. His mom picked up. Mom, Claire's gone. She took the kids. I don't know where. His mother's sigh was long and tired. David, what did you do? I didn't. Don't lie to me. Not now. I raised you better than this. He couldn't answer. She hung up. David sat in the silence of the empty house. The kind of silence that presses against your chest. That makes you aware of your own breathing. He thought about calling her. The woman he'd been with last night. Vanessa. But what would he even say? Instead, he stood up and walked through the house again. Slower this time. In the kitchen, he opened the fridge. It was still full. Milk. Eggs. A casserole dish covered in foil with a note. Reheat at 350 for 20 minutes. She'd made him dinner, even knowing what she was about to do. He didn't know why, but that small detail gutted him more than the empty closets. Sunday morning, David went outside to get the newspaper. His neighbor, Tom, was watering his lawn across the street. They'd lived next to each other for 8 years. Friendly enough. They'd helped each other move furniture, borrowed tools. Tom saw him and turned off the hose. He didn't wave. David raised a hand anyway. Morning. Tom just stared at him for a long moment. Then he turned his back and walked into his garage. David stood there, paper in hand, feeling something cold settle in his stomach. 2 houses down, Mrs. Alvarez was trimming her roses. She glanced at him, shook her head, and went back inside. What had Claire told them? Or worse, what had they seen? He went back inside and pulled out his laptop. Opened Facebook. Claire's profile was still there, but her relationship status was gone. The photos of them together deleted. He scrolled through her recent posts. Nothing about him. Nothing about the kids. Just a shared article about starting over and a quote. Sometimes walking away is the only way to save yourself. It had 43 likes. Comments from her friends, her co-workers, women he'd met at barbecues and school events. So proud of you. You deserve better. About time. They all knew. Everyone knew. Accept him. Monday morning, David woke up at 6:15 like always. He waited for the sound of Claire moving around downstairs. The coffee maker beeping. The kids arguing over the bathroom. Nothing. He got up, showered, dressed. Went downstairs. The silence was suffocating. He made his own coffee. Burned the toast. Sat at the kitchen table alone. For 14 years, this table had been full. Claire reading the news on her tablet. Ryan shoveling cereal into his mouth while playing a game on his phone. Emma talking non-stop about whatever new things she'd learned. Now it was just him and the hum of the refrigerator. He didn't know what to do with his hands. At work, he couldn't focus. He sat through a meeting and didn't hear a single word. His assistant asked him a question 3 times before he realized she was talking to him. "Are you okay, Mr. Pierce?" He nodded. "Fine." She didn't look convinced. By Wednesday, he'd stopped shaving. By Friday, he was wearing the same shirt he'd worn on Tuesday. He tried calling Claire again. Still nothing. He drove by her sister's house. Her car wasn't there. He checked her mother's place. Same thing. It was like she'd vanished. And the worst part, he had no idea how long this had been coming. Late Thursday night, David found himself standing in Emma's empty room. He remembered the last time he'd really been in here. 3 months ago. Maybe 4. She'd asked him to help her with a school project. Something about the solar system. She wanted to build a model. He'd told her he was too busy. Told her to ask her mother. The look on her face. That small flicker of disappointment she tried to hide. She just nodded and left. Claire had helped her instead. He'd seen the finished project on the kitchen counter a week later. Painted planets hanging from wire. Emma's handwriting labeling each one. He hadn't said a word about it. Now, standing in her empty room, he wondered if she even remembered asking him. Or if she'd learned by then not to bother. He thought about Ryan too. 15 now. Barely talked to him anymore. When had that started? David used to take him fishing. Used to shoot hoops in the driveway on weekends. But work got busier. And then, Vanessa. And somewhere along the way, Ryan stopped asking him to do things. David had told himself it was just teenage stuff. That's what kids do. Pull away. But maybe it wasn't that at all. Maybe Ryan had just stopped expecting him to show up. David pulled out his phone and scrolled back through old texts with Claire. Most of them were logistics. Can you pick up Ryan from practice? Dinner's in the fridge. Emma has a dentist appointment at 3. He scrolled further back. A year. 2 years. The messages got warmer the further he went. Miss you today. Can't wait to see you tonight. You make me laugh even when I'm exhausted. When had that stopped? He couldn't pinpoint the exact moment. It had been gradual, like a dial slowly turning down, and he'd been too distracted to notice. He opened his photos, scrolled through. There was one from last Christmas. The 4 of them in front of the tree. Claire's smile looked real, bright, but now looking closer, he saw something else. Her eyes didn't match her mouth. She looked tired, not sleepy, tired in a deeper way, like she'd been holding something heavy for too long. How long had she been unhappy? How long had she been invisible to him? 2 weeks after Claire left, David's boss called him into his office. "You've missed 3 client calls this month," he said. "That's not like you." David nodded. "I know. I'm sorry. I'll do better." His boss leaned back in his chair, studying him. "Is everything okay at home?" David's jaw tightened. "It's fine. Because if you need some time." "I said it's fine." His boss didn't push. But David saw the concern in his eyes. The same look everyone had been giving him lately. Pity. He hated it. That night, Vanessa called. "Hey," she said, her voice soft. "I haven't heard from you in a while. I've been busy." "David, are you okay?" He almost laughed. "Why does everyone keep asking me that?" "Because you don't sound like yourself." "Maybe this is myself. Maybe you just didn't know me as well as you thought." There was a long pause. "Do you want me to come over?" she asked. "No. David. I can't do this right now, Vanessa." He hung up. He sat on the couch in the empty living room and stared at the wall. For the first time in weeks, he let himself cry. David was going through the mail when he found it. An envelope addressed to him. No return address. Postmarked from 2 towns over. Inside was a handwritten letter. Claire's handwriting. "David, I'm not writing this to hurt you. I'm writing this because I need you to understand. I didn't leave because of one thing. I left because of 1,000 small things. Every time you looked at your phone, instead of listening to Emma talk about her day. Every time you came home late and didn't bother to call. Every time I asked you to be present, and you gave me half your attention. I kept waiting for you to see me. Really see me. Not as the person who kept your life running, but as someone who needed you too. I told myself you were just stressed. That work was hard. That you'd come back to us eventually. But you didn't. And then I found the receipt. From the hotel. 6 months ago. Tucked in your jacket pocket. I didn't say anything. I wanted to believe there was an explanation. I wanted to be wrong. But then there was another receipt. And another. And I realized I'd become someone I didn't recognize. Someone who made excuses for you. Someone who shrank herself, so you'd have room to do whatever you wanted. I don't hate you, David. But I can't keep disappearing for you. The kids deserve better. And so do I. Claire. David read it 3 times. His hands were shaking. 6 months. She'd known for 6 months. And she'd said nothing. Just kept making dinners. Kept asking about his day. Kept pretending. Why? He thought about it. Turned it over in his mind. And then he realized. She'd been giving him a chance. Waiting to see if he'd stop on his own. If he'd choose them without her having to say a word. And he hadn't. 3 weeks after Claire left, David got a call from an unknown number. He answered. Dad. Ryan's voice. Quiet. Uncertain. David sat up straighter. Ryan. Hey. Are you okay? Where are you? I'm fine. I'm with Mom. Where is that? Can I come see you? A pause. I don't think that's a good idea. David's chest tightened. Ryan, please. I just want to talk. I want to explain. Explain what? Ryan's voice was sharper now. That you lied? That you chose someone else over us? It's not that simple. It is though. It really is. David didn't know what to say. Ryan sighed. Emma wanted me to call you. She misses you. Even after everything. I miss her too. I miss both of you. Do you? The question hit like a punch. Of course I do. Then why didn't you act like it when we were there? David opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Ryan's voice cracked. I used to think you were the coolest person in the world, Dad. I wanted to be just like you. Ryan. But now I don't even know who you are. The line went dead. David sat there, phone in hand, staring at nothing. David was buying cereal, the only thing he knew how to make for himself, when he saw her. A woman from Claire's book club. Mary. Or Margaret. He couldn't remember. She saw him too. Her expression shifted. Not anger. Something worse. Disappointment. She walked past him without a word. He stood there in the aisle, holding a box of cornflakes, feeling like the smallest man in the world. At the checkout, the cashier, a kid maybe 19, made small talk. How's your day going? David forced a smile. Fine. The kid nodded, scanning items. Then he paused. Hey, aren't you Mr. Pierce? You used to coach my little brother's soccer team. David blinked. Yeah, I did. That was like 5 years ago. Man, those were good times. You were a great coach. David felt something twist in his chest. He'd forgotten about that. Coaching Ryan's team. Claire used to bring lemonade for all the kids. Emma would run around on the sidelines, cheering even though she didn't understand the game. When had he stopped doing that? Thanks, David said quietly. The kid bagged his groceries. You should coach again. Kids need guys like you. David just nodded and left. In the parking lot, he sat in his car and didn't start the engine. Kids need guys like you. But his own kids didn't even want to see him. That night, David opened a bottle of whiskey. He wasn't much of a drinker, but he needed something to take the edge off. 1 glass became 2. 2 became 4. He ended up on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The house made sounds he'd never noticed before. The hum of the air conditioner. The creak of the walls settling. The tick of the clock in the kitchen. It had always been loud here. Full. Now it was just empty. And he was the reason why. He thought about Vanessa. About the hotel rooms. The lies. The sneaking around. At the time, it had felt like something he deserved. Like he'd worked hard, sacrificed so much, and this was his reward. But now, sitting alone in the dark, he saw it differently. He'd been running. From what? He didn't even know. Boredom? Fear of getting older? The weight of responsibility? Whatever it was, he'd chosen the easy thing. The exciting thing. And lost everything that actually mattered. A month after Claire left, David's phone rang at 2 in the morning. He jolted awake, heart pounding. The number was blocked. He answered. Hello. Is this David Pierce? A woman's voice. Professional. Clipped. Yes. Who is this? This is Nurse Carolyn from St. Matthew's Hospital. Your daughter, Emma, was brought in an hour ago. David's blood went cold. What? Is she okay? What happened? She's stable. But she's asking for you. I'm on my way. He threw on clothes and drove faster than he should have. At the hospital, a nurse led him to a room in the pediatric wing. Emma was in the bed, small and pale under the fluorescent lights. Her arm was in a sling. Claire sat in the chair beside her, eyes red. She looked up when David walked in. Their eyes met. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Emma's voice, small and tired. Dad? David crossed the room and knelt beside the bed. Hey, sweetheart. I'm here. Emma's lip trembled. I fell off the monkey bars. I heard. Are you okay? She nodded. It hurts a little. The doctor said it's just a sprain, Claire said quietly. She'll be fine. David looked at her. Why didn't you call me sooner? I did. You didn't answer. He pulled out his phone. 3 missed calls. All from an unknown number. She'd blocked him. I'm sorry, he said. I should have. It's fine, Claire cut him off. Her voice was flat. Empty. You're here now. But the way she said it made it clear she didn't think it mattered. After the doctor checked on Emma and she fell asleep, David followed Claire into the hallway. Can we talk? He asked. She crossed her arms. There's nothing to talk about, David. Please. Just 5 minutes. She sighed but didn't walk away. I'm sorry, he said. I know that doesn't mean much. I know I can't take it back. But I need you to know that I... Stop. Her voice was quiet but firm. I don't need an apology. I needed a husband. I needed a partner. And you weren't there. I know. Do you? She looked at him, really looked at him. Because I don't think you do. I don't think you realize how many times I sat at that table, waiting for you to come home. How many times I made excuses to the kids when you missed their games, their recitals, their lives. David's throat tightened. I was working. I was trying to provide. You were hiding, she said. From us. From yourself. I don't know. But you weren't here. I'm here now. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. You're here because Emma got hurt. Not because you chose to be. He didn't have an answer for that. Claire looked away. I loved you, David. For so long. But I can't keep loving someone who doesn't see me. I see you now. It's too late. The words hung between them. David wanted to argue. To beg. To promise he'd change. But he knew she was right. 2 days later, David got an email at work. The subject line, you should know. No sender name. Just a generic email address. He opened it. Inside was a single sentence and a photo. This is who your husband really is. The photo was of him and Vanessa, leaving a hotel. 6 months ago. David's stomach dropped. Who sent this? And more importantly, who else had received it? He checked his work inbox. Scrolled through. Found another email. This one from HR. Mr. Pierce, we need to speak with you regarding a complaint. Please come to my office at your earliest convenience. His hands shook. He went downstairs. Knocked on the HR director's door. She gestured for him to sit. David, I'll get straight to the point. We received an anonymous report that you've been engaging in a relationship with a colleague. David's face went pale. Who told you that? That's not relevant. What's relevant is that it's true. He didn't deny it. She folded her hands on the desk. Vanessa Ortiz has been reassigned to a different department, and we're placing you on administrative leave pending an investigation into whether company policy was violated. For how long? 2 weeks. Maybe more. David nodded numbly. He left the building in a daze. By the end of the week, it was everywhere. Someone had posted the photo online. Tagged his name. Tagged the company. Comments poured in. Disgusting. His poor wife. Hope it was worth it. People he hadn't spoken to in years were weighing in. Former classmates. Old co-workers. Strangers. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. He turned it off. But that didn't stop the emails. The messages on social media. He deleted his accounts. All of them. But the damage was done. His parents called. His mother cried. His father just said, I'm disappointed in you, son, and hung up. Vanessa called too. Frantic. David, they reassigned me. People are saying things. My name is all over. I know. What are we going to do? I don't know, Vanessa. This is your fault. You said no one would find out. You said. He hung up. She called back. He didn't answer. Late that night, David got a text from Ryan. I saw what people are saying about you. David stared at the screen. I'm not going to tell you it's okay. Because it's not. But Emma keeps asking when she's going to see you again. And I don't know what to tell her. David's vision blurred. He typed back, "Can I see you both? Please." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "I'll ask Mom." An hour later, another text. "Sunday. 2 p.m. Park on Maple Street. Just you." Sunday came. David arrived early. Sat on a bench near the playground. At 2:03, Claire's car pulled into the lot. Emma jumped out first, running toward him. "Dad." He caught her in a hug, lifting her off the ground. She smelled like strawberry shampoo and sunshine. "Hey, baby girl. I missed you." "I missed you too." Ryan got out slower. Hands in his pockets. He nodded at David but didn't come closer. Claire stayed by the car, arms crossed. David set Emma down. "You want to go on the swings?" She nodded eagerly. He pushed her for a while, listening to her talk about school, about a new friend she made, about a book she was reading. She didn't mention the separation. Didn't ask why he hadn't been around. She just talked, like nothing had changed. And it broke his heart. After a while, Ryan walked over. "Can we talk?" he said quietly. David nodded. They walked to the edge of the park, out of earshot. Ryan kicked at the dirt. "Mom says you've been trying to reach us." "I have." "Why?" David blinked. "Because you're my son. Because I love you." Ryan looked up at him, eyes hard. "You didn't act like it." "I know. So why now?" "Because you got caught." "Because everyone knows." David swallowed. "No. Because I finally realized what I lost." Ryan shook his head. "That's not good enough." "I know." They stood in silence. Finally, Ryan said, "Emma still believes in you. I don't know why. But she does. And you?" Ryan looked away. "I don't know, Dad. I really don't." Later, after Emma had worn herself out on the playground, Claire called David over. Ryan took Emma to get ice cream from the truck across the street. Claire and David sat on the bench. "Thank you for letting me see them," David said. She nodded but didn't look at him. "Can I ask you something?" he said. "What?" "Why didn't you say anything? When you found out? Why did you wait so long?" Claire was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Because I kept hoping I was wrong." Her voice cracked. "I kept hoping you'd come home one day and just be you again. The man I married. The man who used to surprise me with flowers for no reason. Who used to hold my hand in the car." She looked at him now, eyes wet. "But you didn't. And every day I waited, I lost a little more of myself." David felt like he couldn't breathe. "I started going to therapy," she continued, 4 months ago. And my therapist asked me, 'What are you staying for?' And I realized I didn't have an answer anymore. Claire, I stayed for the kids, for the idea of what we used to be. But I wasn't staying for me." She wiped her eyes. "And I deserved to stay for me." A week later, David drove past the house. He didn't mean to. He was just in the area. There were cars in the driveway. He slowed down. Through the front window, he could see people inside, laughing, talking. Claire's family, her sister, her parents, a few friends. Emma ran past the window, chasing someone. Ryan was sitting at the table, smiling at something someone said. And Claire, she was laughing, really laughing, the kind of laugh he hadn't heard in years. David sat in his car, parked across the street, and watched. They looked happy, happier than they'd been in a long time. And he wasn't part of it. That night, David sat down and wrote a letter. Not to Claire, not to the kids, to himself. "You did this. Not work, not stress, not bad luck. You chose to lie. You chose to sneak around. You chose someone else. And now you're paying the price. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't about what you lost. It's about what they gained." Claire doesn't look tired anymore. Ryan doesn't look disappointed. Emma still smiles when she sees you, but she doesn't need you. And maybe that's the hardest part, realizing that they're better off without you. He folded the letter and put it in a drawer. He didn't know why he wrote it. Maybe because he needed to see it. To accept it. To stop pretending this was something that could be fixed. 3 months after Claire left, David ran into her at the grocery store. She was in the produce section, picking out apples. She looked different. Her hair was shorter. She was wearing a dress he'd never seen before. She looked lighter. He almost didn't approach. Almost turned and walked the other way. But then she saw him. For a second, neither of them moved. Then she gave a small nod. Not warm. Not cold. Just acknowledgement. He walked over. "Hi," he said. "Hi." Silence. "You look good," he said. "Thanks." More silence. How are the kids? They're good. Ryan made the basketball team. Emma's in the school play. David nodded. That's great. Yeah. She put an apple in her cart. I should go, she said. Yeah, of course. She started to walk away. Then stopped. Turned back. David? Yeah. I hope you find what you're looking for. He didn't know what to say. She didn't wait for an answer. Just walked away. And for the first time, he realized. She wasn't angry anymore. She'd moved on. 2 weeks later, David was officially let go from his job. Restructuring, they called it. But he knew the truth. No one wanted to work with him. No one trusted him. He'd become a liability. He cleaned out his desk on a Friday afternoon. 22 years with the company. Gone. His co-workers avoided eye contact as he walked out. One person, Janet from accounting, stopped him in the hallway. I'm sorry, she said quietly. It's fine. No, it's not. She hesitated. But maybe it's a chance to start over. He wanted to believe that. But starting over required knowing where to begin. And he had no idea. Emma's 10th birthday was on a Thursday. David had called ahead. Asked Claire if he could see her. She has a party, Claire said. With her friends. After? A pause. I'll ask her. 2 days before the party, Claire texted. She said you can come by at 6. Just for cake. David showed up at 5:55. Claire answered the door. She's in the living room, she said. Emma ran over when she saw him. Dad, you came. Of course I did. Happy birthday, sweetheart. He handed her a gift. A book series she'd mentioned months ago. Her face lit up. Thank you. They sat at the table. Ryan was there too, quiet but not hostile. Claire brought out the cake. 10 candles. Emma blew them out, and everyone clapped. David stayed for 20 minutes. Then Claire walked him to the door. Thank you, he said, for letting me come. She nodded. She wanted you here. That's the only reason. I know. He left. And as he drove away, he realized something. He'd been invited to his daughter's birthday. But he wasn't part of her life anymore. He was a guest. David started going to therapy. Not because anyone told him to. Because he didn't know what else to do. His therapist, Dr. Patel, asked him the same question every session. What do you want? At first, David said, I want my family back. Dr. Patel would nod. And if that's not possible? David didn't have an answer. But over time, the question changed. What do you want for yourself? David thought about it. He didn't know. For so long, he defined himself by his job, his family, his image. But now, he was just David. And he didn't know who that was. 6 months after Claire left, David wrote her a letter. A real one. Not an excuse. Not a plea. Just the truth. Claire, I've been trying to figure out what to say to you for months. And I keep coming back to the same thing. I'm sorry. Not because I got caught. Not because I lost everything. But because I hurt you. Because I made you feel invisible. Because I took the person who loved me most and treated her like she didn't matter. You deserved better. You always did. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect anything. I just needed you to know that I finally see it. All of it. Every moment I chose something else over you. Every time I made you feel small. You were never small. You were everything. I just didn't realize it until you were gone. I hope you're happy. I mean that. David. He mailed it on a Tuesday. She never responded. And honestly, he didn't expect her to. Emma called him one Saturday morning. Dad, can you pick me up? Mom has to work and Ryan's at practice. Of course. I'll be there in 15. When he arrived, Emma climbed into the car with her backpack. Where do you want to go? He asked. Anywhere. I just wanted to see you. They ended up at a diner. The same one he used to take her to when she was little. She ordered pancakes. He got coffee. They talked about school. About her friends. About the book he'd given her. Then, out of nowhere, she said, Dad, why did you and Mom stop being happy? David's chest tightened. That's complicated, sweetheart. I know I'm just a kid, but I'm not stupid. He looked at her. Really looked at her. She wasn't a little girl anymore. You're right, he said. You're not stupid. He took a breath. Your mom and I, we stopped paying attention to each other. And I made some really bad choices. Choices that hurt her. And you. And Ryan. Emma looked down at her plate. Because of the other lady? David's heart sank. You know about that? I heard Mom talking to Aunt Jessica. He didn't know what to say. Emma poked at her pancakes. Do you still love Mom? I do. But sometimes love isn't enough if you don't show it. If you don't choose it every day. Do you think she still loves you? David swallowed hard. I don't know, Em. I don't think so. Emma nodded slowly. Then she looked up at him. I still love you, Dad. Even though you messed up. David felt tears prick his eyes. I love you too, sweetheart. So much. I know. But, you have to do better. Okay. Okay. David's new apartment was small. 1 bedroom. A kitchen barely big enough to turn around in. A living room with a couch he'd bought off Craigslist. It wasn't home. It would never be home. But it was all he could afford now. He'd found a new job. Sales. Less money. Longer hours. But it was something. Every night, he came back to the empty apartment and sat in the silence. Sometimes he'd turn on the TV just to have noise. Sometimes he'd call Emma, just to hear her voice. Ryan rarely answered his calls, but he'd text sometimes. Short messages. I'm good. Busy with school. Talk later. It wasn't much, but it was something. Claire never reached out, and he didn't blame her. One evening, David was at a coffee shop, working on his laptop. An older man sat down at the table next to him. They made eye contact. The man nodded. Long day, he asked. David smiled weakly. Something like that. The man chuckled. I know the feeling. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then the man said, You look like a man with something on his mind. David glanced over. Is it that obvious? I've been around long enough to recognize the look. David closed his laptop. Just trying to figure some things out. The man nodded. Life has a way of making us do that. You ever mess up so bad you didn't think you could fix it? The man smiled sadly. Once or twice. How'd you get through it? I stopped trying to fix it. Started trying to be better. David frowned. What's the difference? Fixing it means going back to how things were. Being better means accepting they'll never be the same, and growing anyway. The man stood up, grabbed his coffee. Good luck, son. He walked out. David sat there for a long time, thinking about those words. Being better means accepting they'll never be the same. Late one night, David was scrolling through old photos on his phone. He stopped on one from 5 years ago. The 4 of them at the beach. Claire's hair was wild from the wind. Ryan was holding up a shell, grinning. Emma was buried in the sand up to her waist, laughing. And David was there. In the photo. Smiling. But looking at it now, he realized something. He'd been there. Physically. But mentally? He'd been thinking about work. About emails he needed to send. About the conference call he had the next day. He'd been present but not there. And Claire had known. Even then, she'd known. He zoomed in on her face in the photo. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. How long had she been faking it? How long had she been holding everything together while he drifted further and further away? He deleted the photo. Not because he wanted to forget, but because looking at it hurt too much. Ryan called him on a Wednesday night. David almost dropped his phone. Ryan. Hey. Hey. Is everything okay? Yeah. I just wanted to talk. David sat down. I'm listening. Ryan was quiet for a moment. I'm thinking about trying out for varsity basketball next year. That's great. You've been working hard. Yeah. Coach thinks I have a shot. I'm proud of you. Another pause. Dad, do you think you could come to one of my games? If I make the team. David's throat tightened. I'd love to. You don't have to. I know you're busy with work and everything. Ryan, I'll be there. I promise. Silence. You said that before. David closed his eyes. I know. And I'm sorry. But I mean it this time. How do I know that? Because I'm not the same person I was a year ago. Ryan didn't respond right away. I hope that's true, he said quietly. It is. I swear. They talked for a few more minutes. About school. About basketball. About nothing important. But it was the longest conversation they'd had in months. And when they hung up, David sat in the silence of his apartment and felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. David was at the grocery store when he saw Vanessa. She was in the frozen food aisle, looking at pizzas. She looked different. Thinner. Tired. She saw him at the same time. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then she turned and walked the other way. David stood there, holding a carton of milk, watching her disappear around the corner. He could have followed her. Could have said something. But what would he even say? Sorry I ruined your life too? He put the milk in his cart and checked out. In the parking lot, he saw her getting into her car. Their eyes met through the windshield. She looked away first, and drove off. In his next session, Dr. Patel asked him something new. What do you think Claire would say if she saw you now? David thought about it. Probably that I'm trying too late. Maybe. Or maybe she'd see someone who's finally facing what he did. David shook his head. It doesn't matter. She's moved on. Does that make what you're doing less important? What do you mean? You're not doing this to win her back. You're doing this because you need to. Because you can't keep living the way you were. David looked down at his hands. I don't know if I'm doing it right. There's no right way to heal. There's just showing up. Every day. Even when it's hard. It's always hard. Dr. Patel smiled gently. That's how you know it's real. Emma's school play was on a Friday night. David sat in the back row. Claire was in the third row with Ryan. Her sister Jessica was there too. Emma played a tree. She had 3 lines. But David watched every second like it was the most important performance in the world. When it was over, Emma ran out into the lobby. Did you see me? She asked, breathless. You were perfect, David said. Claire came over, holding flowers. Hey, she said to David. Cool but not cold. Hey. Emma grabbed the flowers. Are these for me? Of course, Claire said. Ryan stood off to the side, hands in his pockets. David walked over to him. You doing okay? Ryan shrugged. Yeah. She did great, huh? Yeah. She was really excited you came. David nodded. They stood there in awkward silence. Then Ryan said, You're coming to my first game, right? I'll be there. Ryan looked at him. Studied him. Okay. It wasn't forgiveness. But it was a start. David woke up at 2 a.m., drenched in sweat. He'd been dreaming about the house. Walking through it. Calling for Claire. For the kids. But no one answered. Every room was empty. He sat up, breathing hard. The apartment was dark. Quiet. He got up, poured himself a glass of water, and sat at the kitchen table. For the first time in months, he let himself really feel it. Not the anger. Not the shame. The grief. He'd lost them. Not because of one mistake, but because of 1,000 small choices. And there was no going back. No fixing it. No rewind button. He put his head in his hands and cried. Not the silent kind. The ugly kind. The kind that shakes your whole body. And when he was done, when there were no more tears left, he sat in the quiet. And accepted it. The end of part 1. Check the comment section for the final part. Thank you.